So last week we discussed the Battle of Sigma Octanus IV, one of the major battles near the end of the Human Covenant War. Well, I figured this week, before we jump right into the Battle of Reach, which is technically starting on the 23rd of July as Covenant forces first arrive on Reach, it would be a good opportunity to discuss sort of the bridge between the Battle of Sigma Octanus and the Battle of Reach. I'm Colin, and this is Sci-Fi Deep Dive. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, to head down below and hit that subscribe button. So, at the end of the Battle of Sigma Octanus IV, Covenant forces are driven off the planet, but they did achieve two major goals. First things first, they got key information from the Forerunner artifact on that world. This information would ultimately lead them to Installation 04, the Halo ring present in the original Halo game. But they also learned the location of the human colony of Reach, one of the key military and political centers of the human government. So with Reach now in their sights, the Covenant are planning a major assault on one of humanity's key strongholds, the fortress world of Reach. Now, it's not entirely clear how they acquired that information during the Battle of Sigma Octanus IV. It's honestly quite surprising that during the entire course of the Human Covenant War, they still hadn't located the locations of Earth or other key human strongholds. This kind of information falling into Covenant hands is relatively rare. Now, there are protocols, like the Cole Protocol, in place to prevent that capture from UNSC vessels, but I couldn't imagine that such a protocol could be implemented across the UNSC population. After all, Covenant forces had overrun population center after population center, and the thought that no civilians had a map is kind of surprising to me, but not impossible. So anyway, after the Battle of Sigma Octanus IV, Covenant forces did learn the location of Reach, and pretty much immediately set their sights on this key world. They also sent expeditions out to Installation 04, expeditions that would be there when the Pillar of Autumn arrives following the loss of Reach. But that's a whole different story. Today we're going to focus on the immediate build-up to the Battle of Reach. Now, unlike battles like the Battle of Earth, where it was seen as sort of this eventuality that was right around the corner after Reach fell, the Battle of Reach itself was a little bit of a shock to the UNSC. In the area around Reach, they'd been dealing with more trouble from insurrectionists as of late, insurrectionists who were still causing problems from the UNSC, even as the Covenant encroached onto the heart of human territory. So it's fairly common for forces operating around Reach to be dealing with insurrectionists, stealing things like small UNSC picket ships, a fairly bold move for insurrectionists at this point in the war, as opposed to dealing with Covenant invaders who were coming from outside of human space. That's why it came as such a shock to UNSC leadership that reports that were originally believed to be insurrectionist activity near the Visegrad Relay on Reach actually ended up being a Covenant scouting party. A scouting party that likely went directly to Reach from Sigma Octanus IV. This would initiate something called the Winter Contingency, which I hope to be able to do an entire video on what the Winter Contingency is, but that's a whole different story. Ultimately, it sort of triggered the beginning of the Battle of Reach, and while the Battle of Reach wouldn't really pick up until around mid-August, the beginnings of the battle would start as early as late July. The other major event that occurred following the Battle of Sigma Octanus IV were the Covenant figuring out the location of the first Halo array, Installation 04, at least the first one relevant to this conflict. During the events of the Battle of Reach, the Covenant would actually dispatch a small fleet out to Installation 04 to sort of scout out the area. These coordinates, however, weren't only known to the Covenant. They had actually been extracted from the Forerunner artifact by the Office of Naval Intelligence, who were keeping them secret themselves, as they had no idea the significance of these coordinates. It's actually worth noting that following the Battle of Reach, when Cortana picked some random coordinates to send the Pillar of Autumn to, she actually chose the coordinates that were extracted from this artifact. So all of that puts the players in place for this big finale of the war, the battles of Reach, Earth, and the Halo arrays, culminating in the Battle of Installation 00. With the Covenant now en route to Reach to investigate the word of a larger human colony in that area, well, they also sent a small scouting party out to Installation 04, the first Halo array to be visited by the Covenant and humanity. And all of this is coming out of the existing climate of constant human defeats. In fact, humanity might have been in a more positive mindset, seeing as they just won a rare victory against Covenant forces during the Battle of Sigma Octanus IV. If you'd like to learn about the state of human affairs leading up to this point and why the human population would have been relatively pessimistic about the war at this point, I'll leave a link up here to a video I have all about the sort of state of human space in 2552. And I'd like you to let me know down in the comments whether you think humanity was sort of foolish to consider the Covenant withdrawal from Sigma Octanus IV a victory. Do you think human leadership should have seen it as the Covenant having achieved their goals, or do you think it really was reasonable to look at it as a moment of triumph for the UNSC? And if you have anything else you'd like to see me cover in Halo, Star Wars, or anywhere else in science fiction, you can let me know down below in the comments. Last but not least, if you enjoyed this video, head down below, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.